Okay, guys, so this is part two. This is, I'm making our recoil pad jig, and this is the first step that I'm gonna outline for you guys. So this here is our plate, okay? This is our foot, or whatever you wanna call it, of our recoil pad jig, all right? This is going to screw into this. This is our stand that the arm for the recoil pad jig is going to rest in, all right? So we're gonna do this. This is the step how I'm doing it, okay? So the first step that we're gonna do for this, obviously, is get it in our vise, and we're going to drill our through hole and then drill our counter bore, okay? And the through hole and the counter bore is gonna allow that to go into the bottom of our plate and screw into this, okay? So that's the first step, all right? For this step, you're gonna need a 3/8 inch end mill, 2 flute preferably to do the counter bore, a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill the through hole, and your 3/8 inch collet, okay? Those are all the things that you're gonna need to do this. You know, you're also gonna need your screw, your 1/4 20 screw that you're gonna use to attach the base right there, attached to the base. So I kind of set this up so you guys can see how I did this. Okay, so I don't have a DRO set up on my machine. Okay, and a DRO's doing mill work makes everything a lot easier. However, most of you should have one of these. This is a tap guide. Okay, so this is a 1/2 inch tap guide. So one of the benefits of laying out your lines right here is now I put my 1/2 inch tap guide in there and I find the center of my part, which, as you can see, is the center of the part right there, okay? Now, everything that I need to do, the machine is set up, okay? So I'm gonna do my counter bore, and then I'm gonna do my drill, okay? I'm gonna drill through my 1/4 inch drill through this, okay? Everything is set up. So what I would do is I would go do my counter bore, or do your drill first, whichever you wanna do. Go do my, and then do my counter bore, okay? And everything's gonna be lined up in the center. Everything's gonna be, there isn't gonna be any having to find the center again because I already did. I've already locked my table on my mill, all right? Now everything is set up for me to do this operation, okay? So when I do this, I'll do the same thing to find the center, okay? So to me, it's a little bit more accurate than, you know, you can use the dials, don't get me wrong. Use the dials, that's great if you want to, okay? But for me, going in and doing something like this finds the center of that part. And here's another example of where we're gonna divide by 2, both these parts where that center is we've divided by 2. But it's another example of me just trying to, how I do things. I approach things and try and keep it as simple as possible. I am not a machinist. I am a rifle builder who uses machines to build rifles and make parts. You can build a rifle by hand if you so choose to do it. However, machines make it a lot easier, okay? So when it comes down to machining and doing stuff like this, you can make it as hard or as simple as you want, okay? So this is my first step, all right? So I'm gonna basically, from this point on, I'm just going to video me going through these steps and whatnot, and at the end of the video, we will assemble this jig, okay? But every part that I do, I'm going to find my center just like this, okay? So I hope this helps when you guys are doing this part, okay? All right? Okay, guys, let's get going. Okay guys, so here's my first step. That's my counter bore, okay? So I got it bored through right there, okay? I got my screw that's gonna attach from the base into this right here. It's counter bored in there, okay? You see that? It's counter bored in there. Just like that, all right? So that's the first step, okay? The next step we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these lines here, and I'm gonna show you a nifty little trick on how to do that as well, okay? So step one, through hole, counter bore, our screw is there, okay? We're ready to go, all right? Okay guys, so we have to cut these lines right here, okay? And as you know, those lines are at an angle, okay? So how do you cut those lines? All right, well, here's a real simple, basic way of doing it, okay? So what I do is I get my jaws and my vise are parallel, correct? So I use a parallel. I set up on the bottom right here, almost like a level. And what I do is I get my work piece, my part right there in the vise jaws, and you can see that it is at an angle. And I align that line up right there with this parallel. And that gives me the angle with which to cut, okay? So very basic, very easy. Use your parallel right up here. Your parallel marks, you lower this right so you get the low point here, the high point there. It's parallel with your vise jaws right there. That line right there is now parallel with the vise jaw, and you can cut that and your angle is in there, okay? So I'm gonna cut that now. Okay guys, so this is our base, which has now been shaped. The little radiuses on the end, just take it to a belt grinder or something like that. It isn't not critical. You're gonna end up, when you use this to put recoil pads on, you'll bump it into the sander anyway. So, but the lines are cut, our lines on the side are cut right there. My counter bore is done, my through hole's done, and now here's my screw, which is going to attach to this, which is what I'll do next, okay? Next thing I'm gonna do is drill and tap this so this attaches that plate, and then I'll cut that notch, okay? So this is gonna end up part two. This is our base that's finished. That's how you guys do that, very basic, okay? And then part three is gonna be drilling and tapping and cutting this armature and cutting this the slot right here for our recoil pad arm, okay? All right, guys.